Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back to Morning Rush on this Monday morning. We are now into the second hour of Morning Rush this Monday morning, the 28th of Dhul Hijjah 1436, the English date once again the 12th of October 2015. And as promised, this morning inshallah we have a panel discussion with Ibrahim Vauda from the Media Review Network and a person who is not new to ITV, Ismail Mullah from the Palestinian Solidarity Alliance. And inshallah this morning we will be looking at the current situation of Palestine and issues regarding from there. We say assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brother Ibrahim Vauda.
Wa alaikum assalam wa
And
rahmatullahi.
assalamu alaikum Ismail.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi.
Jazakallah for joining us once again here on Morning Rush on this Monday morning. Firstly, Ibrahim, we from the Media Review Network, inshallah you want to take us quickly through what is or who is the Media Review Network.
Jazakumullah khair. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. The Media Review Network was established in the 1990s by four visionaries, Iqbal Jasad, Firoz Osman, Abdul Suleiman, and his brother Anwar Suleiman. They saw a niche in the media, and that niche was the lack of proper representation of Muslims and Islam. We know that Islam was demonized for many, many years, and these four gentlemen decided we need to get into the media environment and explain to people, giving the context of what is really being reported in the media and what the real facts are. The Media Review Network was established, as I said, in the 1990s, and in the last 20 years, actually we should be celebrating our 20th anniversary, but we're not doing that because we've got far too many things to worry about rather than celebrations. In the last 20 years, we were involved in many episodes. For example, this question of terrorism in this country and false flagging operations. The Media Review Network was involved since those days in trying to explain why the demonization of Islam has become so important, not only to governments but to laymen and also ordinary politicians. So what we did is we then got involved and tried to explain. Now in South Africa we had false flag operations taking place since as I said, since we were established, but it came to the fore after 2007 when some of these peddlers of false information about Islam and about Muslims, and in the forefront was a gentleman called, I don't know if he's a gentleman, but anyway, his name Hussein Solomons. He attended a huge conference in Israel on Islamophobia, and this conference is normally headed by the leading Zionists of the world. And in this conference he made some very serious allegations about Muslims in South Africa. For example, he said that our madrasas, our madaris, we train terrorists. He said in our mosques we preach terrorism. And we then, when we found this out, we challenged him and we asked him to provide evidence. Of course, he couldn't do so. Then again, we had in the media false flag operations such as the bombing of the World Cup soccer match between England and the United States. So the Media Review Network has been involved in this kind of work for many, many years. At the moment, we are a team of 8 people. We got a young leadership, Zakir Mayat, who is a qualified lawyer, a very young man, very dynamic. Our vice chair is Dr. Aisha Soni, also young but enthusiastic and has a passion for what is happening in Palestine and humanitarian issues around the world. Then we have a husband and wife team in Indonesia, Surya Dadu. Of course, she's well known in South Africa because she's a co-author of the book Why Israel. And then her husband Ziad. Ziad does our social networking. And then, of course, in the office, I'm there in the office together with a young lady, Nabila. And then just recently, we employed Farheen Kala from Pretoria, who is going to be assisting us, but also operating from home. So we are a small team. We operate on a very shoestring budget, but alhamdulillah, we've become very, very effective, to the extent that the Zionist lobby in this country referred to us as their only nemesis in South Africa. Now, the word nemesis is not a very pleasant term, but we are proud to carry that tag.
Jazakallah for that, Ibrahim. Ismail, do you want to take us through very quickly also who is the Palestinian Solidarity Alliance then?
Yeah, well, the Palestine Solidarity Alliance is more a advocacy group and a conscientization organization. We have networks right throughout South Africa. The MRN is a partner in a lot of our initiatives and programs. For argument's sake, we've spoken at length about the Gaza docket, and the MRN is a partner in that. But we more on the ground, and in terms of maintaining the presence of Palestinians and Palestinian plight in the consciousness of South Africans.
Talking about Palestine, inshallah, this morning we want to discuss more about and go into further discussion with regards to Palestine as we see what is happening the past few weeks. Ismail, you've been talking to us with regards to what is happening the past few weeks. We see again this weekend Gaza being bombed, a 27-year-old pregnant woman, a 3-year-old child being killed. Is the use of force or extreme force by Israeli forces now out of control?
Yeah, you know, I think what is happening is serious. And the thing that is worrying me is if you look at the ages of the Palestinian resistance that have died, they are very young. The other thing is that you're finding that this doesn't seem like it's coordinated. It looks like it's sporadic. And it's reminding me of Tahrir Square, where people just came to the streets without any sense of direction or any sense of coordination. Obviously built up from there. But if you're looking at what is happening now, it looks like it's uncoordinated. And people are coming up and rising up. And I think this is expected. I think that people are frustrated in the sense that 20 years of Oslo got them nowhere. And I think the recent pronouncements by Mahmoud Abbas that they are not party or privy to one-sided agreements, I think these have all given impetus to what we are seeing now.
If I can add to what Ismail is saying here, the Media Review Network, we like to believe that we provide context to whatever is happening, especially as far as the Muslim world is concerned. Now, when we talk about what is happening in Palestine today, we must not forget that as far as Zionism is concerned, Islam and the Muslims need to be destroyed completely. So, the starting point is Palestine, and the ethnic cleansing and genocide of the Palestinian people started way back in 1948. And what we see happening today is nothing but a continuation of that. Now, again, Ismail referred to the Oslo Accords. Now, before that, we had the Camp David, and then we had the Annapolis talks. We had all these various, and nothing comes of it. And this is the message that the world must get out there, that Israel does not want peace, period. Then here what they want is peace, P-I-E-C-E. They want the peace of Palestine. And as the Zionist doctrine says, that Eretz Israel means Israel will possess the land from the Mediterranean Sea to the river, which is the Euphrates in Iraq. So that is their intention. And what we see happening in Palestine today is nothing but a continuation of this process of ethnic cleansing and genocide.
Before we come on to the word of terrorism that is being used mainly in the media with regards to the Palestinian freedom fighters, let's look at the international law, Ismail. We see international law being disregarded all the time, every time.
Yes, and we must understand that the Palestinians have a right to resist. That is also in terms of international law. International law allows you to resist occupation. If we look at Gaza, and we see that at one stage 10 years ago, Israel had settlements in Gaza. And because of continuous resistance, they had to withdraw. because the price that they had to pay in terms of their security was too much. Sadly, this never transformed in the West Bank, because the Palestinian Authority works in cahoots with the IDF in terms of security arrangements. One of the realities is that when Palestinians are going to protest, and remember there are protests for different reasons every day, and the wall is a very powerful get-together point because it affects so many communities. So you find that, like on Fridays, you'll have a lot of congregants in different areas mobilizing against the wall. But you know, before they even get to their meeting point, Palestinian police will make sure that they are unarmed. The reason is that they don't want a conflict. Yes. They want the protest to show their peaceful nature. So when Palestinians are coming there, they are already searched before they even come to the demonstration, and not by the IDF, by Palestine PA. You know, for me, what has been shocking, I don't know if you've seen the clip of the lady that was shot on Saturday.
Yes.
And that was for me very sad, because you could see her. She's alone. She's 2 meters away, surrounded by almost about 7 heavily armed soldiers. And what gave me a sense of pride was, you know, she stood firm. She wasn't cowed. She wasn't begging for mercy. She was ready to sacrifice whatever was necessary for her to do. And they fired 7 shots. Why is it that because it was a Palestinian that was killed, that the world remained silent? And we know that there are 2 standards here. The Palestinian life, in terms of world consciousness, is expendable.
Inshallah, we'll continue discussion with regards to double standards and looking at the standards of terrorism being used in the media when it comes to Muslim, and freedom fighters or activists used when it's regarded to non-Muslims. Inshallah, we'll continue this discussion after the short break. Stay tuned.
One of Wonder Flooring's leading divisions is our ceramic and porcelain tile range, known for their high level of technical quality and design. Contact Wonder Flooring today for all your tiling needs. Call us on 0860 298080.
Are you planning to perform Umrah? Then call Show Mirage Travel for their super Umrah specials during December, January and February with guaranteed seats. Land packages from 9,750 Rand per person sharing. Includes accommodation in 4-star hotels for 12 nights with bed and breakfast, Saudi visas and transfers. The 3 Harams tour from 33,750 Rand per person sharing. Complete package visiting Amman, Jerusalem, Mecca and Medina, inclusive of airfares, 19 December to 3rd January 2016. Call Durban 031 208 4222 or visit www.miragetravel.co.za.
Change is inevitable, and with change comes innovation. At Yusuf Wajah Insurance Brokers, we cherish change. Whether you need to consolidate or change your current portfolio, talk to us. We offer a comprehensive range of Sharia-compliant investments. Our team of professionals will make sure that your needs are understood. We at Yusuf Wajah Insurance Brokers adhere to sound Islamic investment principles to give you peace of mind. Yusuf Wajah Insurance Brokers, your partner in investment since 1989.
Soundtech, your one-stop electronic shop. Computers, cellular, car audio and electronics. The latest brands at great prices, with branches in Cape Town and Durban. Get a 16-gig SanDisk flash drive at only 99 rands 99. Visit our website to view all our other branches.
في حلقات الحمدان الطهر مداد نضارتها كالنهر العذب الريان والذكر شذا في طلعتها كالروض الحلو الفينان الطهر مداد نضارتها كالنهر العذب الريان والذكر شذا في طلعتها كالروض الحلو الفينان وكذا حلقات الحمدان تسمو بالحق وبالنور فتضيء سماء الديجور قافلة القرآن سلاما امضي على درب للخير يا حلقات الحمد.
Welcome back to Morning Rush this Monday morning, and in our studio we have Ibrahim Vauda, a researcher at Media Review Network, and Ismail Mullah from the Palestinian Solidarity Alliance. Before the break, Ismail Mullah mentioned about double standards, and we're looking now with regards to the term of terrorist or terrorism being used in the media. Ibrahim.
Jazakallah, thanks for that. To understand the term terrorism, first of all, we need a definition. And right now, from the United Nations to every other organization in the world, they have failed to provide a definite definition for the term. So you talk about terrorism, you need to ask, what is terrorism? So when you ask, what is terrorism? Simple definition would be, if you instill fear into somebody, that is terrorism. By the same token then, the United States, right now, up to this day, they instill fear in the population in Afghanistan. They do the same in Iraq. So they're instilling fear, they're terrorizing people, therefore they must be terrorists. So Bush and Obama are terrorists. Why don't we refer to them as the same in Israel? The Israeli Defense Force, the Zionist Defense Force, daily instill fear in the people of Palestine, both in the Gaza and in the West Bank. So they must be. So when you talk about terrorism, I don't think the world knows clearly what terrorism is all about. So let's get back now to the question of terrorism. You will find when the Muslims defend themselves, they defend their countries, they defend their occupied lands, they refer to as terrorists. But when Israel terrorizes the people, then they are defending Israel's right to exist. Israel's right to exist as what? As a state or as a Jewish state? They don't make that distinction. But in the media, but the Israeli government will tell you that we have a right to exist as a Jewish state. That in itself is racist. So that makes Zionism a racist ideology. So terrorists are defending a racist ideology, which we in South Africa fought against over many, many years. And in 1994 we got our independence. But that's another story. Coming back to the whole question of terrorism, it's not something new. It is something that was started post-World War II, even before post-World. But let's just confine ourselves to post-World War II. When communism became a threat to the entire Western Europe, what did they do then? They organized terrorist groups within their countries. And what did they do? They infiltrated all the radical groups who were communistly inclined, or communistically inclined, I don't know if that's the right term, but they infiltrated these groups, and what did they do? They funded them, they provided them with arms and ammunition, and then they started demonizing communism, with the result that communism became the real danger in Western Europe. So they didn't call it terrorism, they just said, no, we are fighting communism. And that's where the Cold War came in. You follow me? So the context is broad, it is very wide, and if we now bring it down closer to home and to what is happening in the world today, we see this kind of terrorism only, the label only used when Muslims are defending their occupied lands. So that's why I say we need to unpack this definition of terrorism, which I think the world has failed to do so. Therefore, anybody can use it, and it's used very freely. In this country, even our media refers to, I mean, you take our youngsters that have joined ISIS, supposedly they've joined ISIS in Syria and those places. They have gone there to join a terrorist organization. But they will refer to it as an Islamic state. So the word Islamic state and terrorism used very closely together. So there is this kind of double standards. We need to be very careful about these things.
Ibrahim, you made mention of infiltration and third parties being used. Ismail, in the state, in the condition of Palestine, do we see third parties being involved in Palestine?
Absolutely, absolutely. Just last week, you know, the nice thing is that whatever events take place in Palestine is documented and recorded. There are so many reporters out there There are so many media people out there. Not to forget that all of us have got smartphones, and you know, to record videos and things like that is easy. But there was a video clip, I don't know if you've seen it, that was circulating last week, of IDF members joining Palestinians dressed in their kafia, so they look like every other resistance, and inciting them to throw stones. This is, you can hear it on the recording, inciting them to throw stones to soldiers. And the moment this takes place, they turn around and fire at the Palestinian protesters. Now, this has serious implications going forward, because what is happening at the moment is that the IDF has got instructions to shoot, to kill people that are throwing stones. And if you see the 4 people that have died, I mean, they are shot by snipers. And even a 12-year-old, apparently in an area that had no march or no sort of resistance, walking home from school, 12-year-old, was shot by a sniper. And there is going to be no question about this. There's no inquiry about it, because the apartheid state understands that the only way it survives is it has to be brutal in terms of its security. The Palestinian resistance is so powerful and so strong that it doesn't even allow them an opportunity to blink. The moment they blink, they lose. So that is why they have to have this upper edge and be constantly on the lookout. And what does that give them? No peace. The reality is that they created the state for peace. But I think today they are more peaceful out of the boundaries of Israel than they are in Israel itself.
If I can just add to what Ismail is saying, you're talking about the third force. Recently, in our country, the Zionist lobby has taken various groups on this propaganda trip of theirs, or Hasbara trip to Israel. Among them, they took a group of students, and then they took opposition leaders from parliament, and then they were in the process of organizing another one in the not too distant future. And at that point, at the Media Review Network, we said that there is a third force, because we know exactly how Hasbara operates, this propaganda machinery of the Zionists. We know exactly, and we suggested at that time, about 2 months ago, that there is a third force that is in operation here. So those people that go on this so-called trip of theirs to see the other side of the Israeli story, which is really not the other side, which is the only side of the story that they want to show. We have said that there is this third force, and it goes with exactly with what Ismail is saying here.
You know, just to add on that, I fail to understand why people have to go there. The realities we all know about. There is an oppressor and there is an oppressed people. You know, you got to take a stand. You got to choose. History will decide which side you chose. Even during our own liberation, there were people and organizations and institutions that chose to support the apartheid government, and they will be judged according to their actions. Here we are having criminality that is taking place, and it is really absurd for me when the conclusions brought back from the opposition parties that our government must be neutral. For me, that is absolutely ridiculous, because you've got a situation of criminality taking place. The wall is illegal, denying people access, denying people water, denying people basic human dignity and rights. It's all illegal. Yeah. So how can we then be neutral in the face of such oppression? And what fact-finding mission are we going to see? It's clear. The Israelis do not hide what they do. They're not killing these children or these protesters at night or under darkness. They do it blatantly for everyone to see, because that is, they feel that they are a law unto themselves. There's one law for the world, and there's one law for Israel.
I think we'll need hours to discuss or unpack all this current conditions. But lastly, talking about fact-finding and fact-finding missions, Ibrahim, with regards to the Media Review Network, how does people or the general population of Muslims or South Africa then differentiate between fact and fiction?
I'm very glad that you've asked this question, because it is at the back of my mind to mention that the Media Review Network, we have our own website, www.mediareviewnet.com. It is very active. It is being populated on a daily basis. As I mentioned to you earlier, we've got Ziad Dadu sitting in Indonesia and doing that for us on a full-time basis. So anybody wants to know anything, any facts about, no, if they want to separate fact from fiction, go onto our website. And inshallah, you'll be able to read everything. And I think what is important here is the Ummah must educate itself. Especially when it comes to Israel, we must know what Zionism stands for. Because Zionism, as Alan Hart says in his book, he says, Zionism is the greatest threat to Israel. And it's not a Muslim saying it. The greatest threat to Israel is Zionism. You take Zionism out of Israel and out of the politics of Israel, there'll be no problem in having the Palestinians, the Israelis, the Christians, all living in one unitary democratic state, which is non-sexist, secular, non-religious, whatever you want to call it, but they'll be able to live in peace and in harmony. But sadly, Zionism doesn't see it that way. They want a state for the Jewish people of the world, period.
Ismail, any last closing remarks you want to make?
Yeah, I think it's important just to add on what Ibrahim said there, that we accept that you know, Jerusalem is a very significant place to Christians. We accept it's significant to Jewish people, and we accept it's significant to us as well. And in terms of our history, what was Jerusalem like during the Ottoman Empire? So it's not like it's a figment of our imagination, what it can be like. It's been like that for almost 700 years.
That's right.
There was harmony. There was mutual respect. So what is stopping us from going back to that time? It was done, and it can be done even today. For me, you know, I'm getting a sense of fatigue from the Islamic world. Are we tired of all these conflicts? Are we just becoming complacent? Because, you know, previously, when I'm saying previously, I mean, you know, Masjid al-Aqsa has always been a flashpoint. Yeah. But, you know, 4 or 5 years ago, if you had this kind of attempts to change the status quo, you would find Muslims in Arabian countries coming out in numbers to show their support. But this time, I'm not seeing it, and it's disheartening because everybody is so concerned about their own internal issues. But this is the grand plan. This is the strategy of our enemy, is to make sure that our focus is always misdirected. So we don't keep our eyes on them, but rather focus on matters that deflect the attention from them. And I would say to people that we need to mobilize, and we need to conscientize. And you know, the smartphone with Twitter and Facebook is very powerful. And I call on our people to use this, you know, sitting from their home. They don't have to go anywhere, you know, just from wherever they are, they can tweet and post.
Ibrahim, on that regards, with regards to tweeting and posting, but only tweet and post the facts, am I right?
Exactly. Education, and more education. That's what we need.
We say Jazakallah to Ismail Mullah from the Palestinian Solidarity Alliance and Ibrahim Vauda, a researcher at Media Review Network. Jazakallah for taking up some of your time this Monday morning. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Jazakallah wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.